Hello and welcome to Smash Writing. Today the beat goes on to Saw 5, which drops us into the pit and the pendulum trap. You have this guy, he's being accused of killing somebody. He's screaming it was an accident, he didn't mean to. But the way he is to survive this trap, he has to stick his hands into the crushers and push a button which will turn his hands into dust before the pendulum can come down and cut him in half. But he actually manages to do it just in time the pendulum stops. But then it keeps going and takes him out. And we jump to Agent Dum Dum. It's his turn to be tested now. His test is simple. Don't leave the room. There's a false door that opens up. And you can pursue the truth, or he can stay put. He pursues the truth and gets knocked out. And he wakes up, there's a box on his head, and there's two water coolers, and they start filling the box that's going to drown him. He gives himself an emergency tracheotomy, I believe it's called, with his pen. Shoves it in to create an air hole. When the police arrive, they find Mark, who has found the little girl from 3, so at least she's living. There's that. And then they find Agent Dum Dum. He's still alive because of his quick actions. I'll give him that. We jump to Jill. She's getting a box from her lawyers that he left behind, including a video. It's pretty much him apologizing and giving her a layout, pretty much. And we see the police chief declaring that this is over, and despite being annoyed by reporters, and Mark is being honored and awarded for his actions. While the Agent Dum Dum is in the hospital recovering, he wants to get back on this case immediately. And the FBI's are like, no, you're done. You're riding the bench now. Everything's gone to hell here. The feds are still in the case for some reason. I guess they're still trying to find the third man. Mark gets back to his desk. He has a letter that says somebody knows. They know who he is. So somebody knows he is the third man. He gets, Agent Dum Dum gets a visit from Mark Hoffman, who, they kind of go back and forth, and he's all but pointing the finger at Mark, because he's finding it real suspicious that everyone on his task force is now dead, and Mark is the sole surviving hero. And she goes about, well, he kind of shrugs him off and everything. But we jump, because we have a big test we got to do still. And we got a room full of 5 people, I believe it's 5. And the one seems to know everyone else. He points to the fire inspector. And they all got collars on, chains on, leads on, and there's keys to the collars they have to get to. But anytime someone moves back, it'll pull the others back. And they're told, due to their selfish ways of living, they will have to ignore their base feelings to pass these tests. So the fire inspector gets her head lobbed off on some razor blades because she doesn't have enough time to get to it. Because everyone is going one at a time, and the one guy is going so slow to get his key. But they get to go on to their next room. Meanwhile, you have got Hoffman getting a little paranoid, and Agent Dum Dum finds a link between Mark and the Jigsaw killings. And it's the one guy from the pendulum test. He killed Mark's sister. And we see a little bit about it. It was actually Mark who did that, but he was doing it as a copycat at the time. And we jump back to the now 4 people. And the bald guy, he seems to know everyone, and he turns out that he's an investigative journalist for the Herald. And they're in a room now where there's a bunch of bottles containing acid and keys. They got to get enough. They got 3 keys to 3 tunnels that'll keep them safe from an explosion. So they all, the journalist whacks one in the head because he's going to make sure he gets a key. And the 2 other women get a key. He's about to get a key when one of the women hit him in the head and gives the key to the guy he attacked. So those 3 hide in their tunnels while the bomb goes off and takes out the journalist. Meanwhile, we see Mark get kidnapped by Kramer, because you're not going to take credit for his work. And there's a bit of an interview process, and we get the speech again: I am not a murderer. I don't kill people. I only test their will to live. And he kind of tests Mark here in a way. And it's a recruit, and he ends up recruiting Mark. And we see that way back in the first movie, the guy who was in the razor box, who had to get through the box of razor wires to get to the exit, Mark helped kidnap that guy. And we see that him and Kramer watched it all, and Kramer's the one who requested Mark to plant Dr. Gordon's light in the scene, but that would lead Tap to Dr. Gordon. And the one thing also about this we learn is Mark makes shoddy traps. He doesn't do a good job with the metal. He goes cheap on the metal. Meanwhile, we got Jill. She goes to the FBI, head of the FBI, who's trying to get a hold of it. He's trying to figure out what's going on with Agent Dum Dum and everything. and we see Jill go to the FBI guy, and she reports that Agent Dum Dum has been following her. He's not. I don't think he is anyway. But he was giving her problems in the past one. But Agent Dum Dum is looking at Mark now. And back at the traps, we got the 3 remaining now in the room. There's a tub with water. They have to make 5 connections in the pole to conduct the electricity through. So they kill the one woman when she was trying to talk her into killing the guy. And they use her to make the connection, which takes them into the last room, where they've got this box of saws going, and they have to give 10 pints of blood. And had they all worked together, because there was no reason why they couldn't, and that was the main point, he said, go against your base instincts of selfishness to work together, then they could have given a little blood. But now between the 2 of them, they're going to have to give 5 pints of blood. That's half their blood. And they find out that there was a fire. They were all in positions of power to pass along this community, create this community building thing, whatever. And the one skittish guy is the one who set the fire, and it killed a handful of people. And the one woman may have known that there were the people there. I don't know. They didn't give enough details about the situation. It does sound like she did know that there were people living in the building. But they do the bandsaw thing, and he dies because the bandsaw just cuts all the way down to here. And she survives. Meanwhile, we got Agent Dum Dum coming into the building. We got the head of the FBI tracing his call because Mark is leading him along the way. And the head of the FBI guy, he finds the lone surviving woman. We have a winner, and it does not feel like it matters at all. And they couldn't be bothered enough. Meanwhile, Agent Dum Dum finds this crystal coffin kind of deal with glass inside of it, and the tape recorder telling him to go into the box. He doesn't do that, but he does get the jump on Mark and attacks him and throws Mark into the box. But as it turns out, that was what you were supposed to do. The box begins to lower into lower into the floor. Meanwhile, the walls on the room begin to close around, and it squishes Agent Dum Dum to death. It turns him into a pancake. And that is Saw 5. Okay, here's my once again, Tobin Bell is a delight. He is very, very good at this role. You can tell he's very passionate about this character, and he does a really good job. That might be the only positive I have about this movie. I would really like what's going on with the 5 people inside the gauntlet traps and everything. But honestly, everything with that should have been so clear. Maybe not the first room. The key thing that came was like all of the keys went to all of the locks on them. They only needed one key. So that was a really creative kind of deal. But like the second room where they had to hide in their tunnels, there's clearly enough space for everybody. Like there shouldn't even been a fight between that. And yeah, the one guy was acting crazy, but that one guy was also the smartest guy you had. And there was, like I said, like clearly you just had to open one tunnel and all 4 of you could have hid in one tunnel. You didn't even need all. And it, like, even scared and paranoid, you still had enough time before the bombs went off to be able to tell, like, oh, we can all fit in one. And then you had a winner of one of these fucking things finally. That doesn't matter, and the movie doesn't even make it feel like it matters. Because we're so focused on Mark and Agent Dum Dum. Just nothing works in this movie. I don't feel like any of it works. And we should look back on the flashbacks and everything. This will be something I'll bring up in the next movie too. They made a point to show you that he's not, that he doesn't do good on these traps, that his stuff is flawed and everything. And it doesn't matter. Because none of his traps ever fail. So what's the point of telling you he's not good at it? There's no point. This movie just missed the mark. It wasn't very good. It wasn't. I guess it was a bit entertaining here and there. But like I said, everything just felt so watered down. No thought put into this. It just wasn't enjoyable. I gotta give this a I gotta give it a D. Yeah, really, I gotta give this movie a D. The stupid people who couldn't just tell that there was enough room in one tunnel, and the Agent Dum Dum being back again, to the fact he planted the seed of Mark's traps not working and him doing his metal is a inferior metal, inferior quality, but doesn't ever really matter. So yeah, this is a D movie. It wasn't enjoyable. That's my final thoughts on this movie. I don't have anything else to say. Bye bye.